the internet is the ideal place to find other people like you who maybe feel similarly left out in their own personal lives. And so you combine internet and horror, it makes complete sense that this community feels very supportive, tight-knit, and there's a lot of like-minded people in it.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janisse, and today we're looking at Saw, The Thing, Get Out, The Cabin in the Woods. Once again, it's not that explicit, hour and a half into the movie, but this film's about a lot more than just kills. Oh my god, his chest just ate Copper's hand! Dead Meat, the name, I'm actually pretty happy with. It was a kind of an accident. When it came to creating a horror movie channel, I just had a list of tropes and phrases that I had heard from horror movies. In Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, there's a line where these two kids are talking to each other and they're like,
"What do you think?" "I think we're dead meat."
Since like 2012, we started with sketch comedy, as many people on YouTube do, with a channel called Comediocracy, another awful name. That eventually became Practical Folks, where we had the Drunk Disney series, which was commentating on Disney movies while being drunk. You couldn't say Hakuna Matata here. I decided I wanted to try just doing an individual channel about horror movies, which was something I've been a lifelong fan of. So in early 2017, I launched Dead Meat with Chelsea's support and help, and then shortly after, she launched the Dead Meat podcast.
I just think Freddy Krueger's sexy.
And then, yeah, since then, it's just been a partnership, and it took off faster than we could have expected or anticipated or hoped for.
I think we realized it was getting huge when we looked at the numbers of, I think it was a single video you'd posted.
Jason X.
Yeah, had gotten more views than everything else we had done up to that point.
3, 2, 1. I have with me today, these are the 3 interesting ones that aren't a digital camera. This is a Pentax 6.7 medium format camera. This is a beautiful, beautiful thing. I think I was a very scared kid. I had to make my friends stop watching a horror movie because I was too freaked out. And at a certain point, I started working at a video store. I was like 16 or something, and I just ran through the whole horror section, like desensitizing myself. And I just found it to be really freeing and fun to like put yourself in a scenario where you're spooked, and then you can come out of it and be like, cool, now I'm gonna go eat a sandwich. I think people love horror movies because it does get them out of their head most of the time. It's a form of escapism. Not to say that I use horror as a coping mechanism or anything like that. I just like to not be paying attention to like life stuff. So using it as a coping mechanism, really. There are a couple shoots that I've done where I get to really engage with that side of my personality. I got to do the cover of Fangoria magazine, which is like one of the OG greatest horror magazines that there is. It was meant to be Christmas themed, and they made bloody guts coming out of this man's stomach and like VHS tapes being like pulled out of his empty chest cavity. And I did feel very in my element. I think you should go for the butcher knife. Yeah, it reads the most knife-ish, you know what I mean?
While we have definitely fostered the horror genre and fandom of it, we still just commentate on horror, at least for now. So that's why I amended it the king and queen of internet horror, maybe. This is 1980 and this is a no-budget movie. That's a real snake. Okay.
I'm guessing Jack the Ripper's running around, whoever that was. Jack the Ripper was maybe a woman. Probably.
I grew up watching these movies. I would go rent them from Video Castle, and I would ride my bike home, and I would copy it. Yeah, I had a whole cabinet of poorly labeled.
Yeah, I think we're past the statute of limitations.
Come at me.
Well, I stole videos from a different video store and brought them back to my video store and opened them there, so I did much worse.
The horror fandom is so devoted and just like, they want sincerity. There was a time when the people online were not mainstream or normal. They were like you said, probably just looking for other people like them and forming communities on message boards and like chat rooms and stuff because they weren't connecting to people in real life as well, but they could find people online.
I think horror's always been the home for Misfits, for people who maybe don't feel like they fit in anywhere else. It's, you know, we get all the weirdos, and I mean that in like the most endearing way possible. We consider ourselves weirdos. You look at the internet too, and the internet is the ideal place to find other people like you who maybe feel similarly left out in their own personal lives. And so you combine internet and horror, it makes complete sense that this community feels very supportive, tight-knit, and there's a lot of like-minded people in it. It's such a nice home, I think, for people who maybe feel a bit left out.
Dead Meat and I have done photos in the past, and they're like spooky candles lit and some antlers around, and you know, things that make you think horror. It's dark. It's very dark and brooding. We've all seen them in that environment plenty. What can we do to like flip it a little bit? So we're going super bright neon green, which to me is like an underappreciated color in the horror genre.
Toxic Waste, like Toxic Avenger, Reanimator, one of my favorite horror movies, the Serum.
The end of Silence of the Lambs, I think, is that green night vision, yeah. Even like going back to Hitchcock stuff, you think of Tippi Hedren and the birds, and that's the iconic kind of green dress that she has on for a lot of that movie. Also, Shrek is also very green.
Yeah.
I'm excited to work with Dead Meat again. I'm constantly evolving as an artist and learning from past experiences and photo shoots. The first shoot that we did together was very much, I think, their wheelhouse, their palette. This one, I think, is very much my wheelhouse. You can go all the, you should probably come from this angle, from over here. Beautiful, serious faces here. Three, two, one. And now this same thing, but we're models. So the butcher knife is reading super well. Here. No smiles here. Perfect.
This was so fun.
Hell yeah, dude.
Oh no, I'm the only one in the shoot who can't juggle.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's just like juice flying out of one of them.
Yeah.